Hi everyone. This week's Torah portion comes from the book of Exodus or Shemot, the double portions of Vayakhel and Pekudei, and really plays on themes of kahal versus kehillah. That a kahal forms a crowd of people, but a kehillah really brings that crowd together to form a community. As a kahal, we're only as good as individuals in a crowd, but as a kehillah, a community with shared values and commitments, we can begin to see each other face to face and ultimately enter into real relationships the way Moses did with the Israelites. So how can we move from the sort of rampant individualism of a kahal to the creativity and true community of a kehillah? So in this week's Torah portion, Moses, having just returned from Mount Sinai, witnessed the Israelites worshiping a golden calf. And recognizing that he had to bring the people back to God, Moses created a kehillah, a community from this really very chaotic kahal. Vayakhel opens with the words, Vayakhel Moshe, and Moses assembled all the community of the children of Israel. Vayakhel is a verb of action for a specific purpose. Vayakhel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael, and Moses created community from the house of the children of Israel. Moses was not just a teacher and lawgiver and great leader, but truly he was our first community builder. In the wilderness of Sinai, Moses inspired our people to join together and contribute to the building of the Mishkan, the portable dwelling place of the Shekhinah in the wilderness. And from amidst that clamorous kahal, Moses told the people, Kehu me'itchem truma l'Adonai, take for yourself gifts to the eternal, to the Lord. And this newly inspired kehillah responded to Moses' plea and God's command with overwhelming support and enthusiasm. Kol asher nisa'o libo, everyone whose heart was so inspired brought what they could. Even those who had no formal training in performing any of the tasks, they were inspired too. Each person came to Moses volunteering to complete the tasks that were required. Moses asked the Israelites to donate gold and silver and copper for the construction of the Mishkan. And seemingly the most valuable and precious of these metals was gold, second silver, and the most plentiful and least valuable was copper. But each of these three metals was used for completely different purposes in the construction of this Mishkan for God. As we'll learn in the second part of the double portion this week, Parashat Pekudei, gold was used for the work of the sanctuary, silver for casting the sockets of the sanctuary, and copper for the entrance to the tent of meeting. And all served different purposes in that construction. And in fact, each metal was actually dependent upon the other metals in order for its own purpose to actually be realized. So each person contributed, not out of force, but because of the importance of this idea of building this kehillah, this real community. For the Israelites, the completion of the Mishkan in the wilderness transformed that clamorous kahal into the kehillah that welcomed God's presence into their midst. And as inheritors of this tradition, it's our challenge to figure out how to enter the Mishkan, how to enter this tabernacle, this dwelling place of God, even if it no longer stands. So today we no longer have a Mishkan, but we do have the opportunity to create true, authentic community by connecting sacred space with sacred time. Rabbi Shimon said, if three have eaten at one table and have spoken words of Torah over it, it is as though they have eaten from the table of God. And so while there are many ways to become a kehillah, each week our Shabbat table, our new altar, is the easiest way to create that sort of sacred community each week. And through this experiences of Shabbat, the Sfas Emes teaches that the children of Israel were united in one community. So each and every week, we can actually create those real kehillot, those real communities, as we gather together to celebrate Shabbat. But there's one more word that our tradition employs using the word kahal, and that is a makelah, a choir. And honestly, I believe that that is just maybe the ultimate in coming together as a community. On Shabbat, we sing Zmirot and we unite our voices, whether it's the soaring golden soprano, the silver alto, the resounding copper bass, to form this impromptu Shabbat choir around our table, our modern-day Mishkan. So in doing so, we create the Makhelah, a choir that unites us in all that is good for a higher purpose of really creating community in the presence of God. So let's work to move our community from the individualism of a clamorous kahal into a true Kehila Kedosha, a holy community, as we embrace the joyous sounds of this Makhelah, this choir together. So I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom from University of Miami Hillel, and hope you are finding ways to gather together safely in community, even during this time of COVID. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.